Gotta let them know I'm uncontrollable.
Hello guys, welcome back to another lovely trading recap. Today is April 9th and we have a profit of $308, which is pretty good because the last 2 days have also been $300 plus days, so up about $1,200 on the week. So that's quite nice. We ended up taking a few trades, a few smaller ones. You'll probably notice throughout the next few months with that we have smaller winners. The reason for this, that we have a lot of smaller ones, is because the market is going to be slower coming into these next few months because it's coming into summer, so you get less professional traders who kind of just trade on the side. They don't trade as much because they instead go out and have fun in the sun. So yeah, volume kind of slows down in the summer and there's just not as crazy movement. So that's why you'll notice like NIO is like a $15 win. And it's because on some of these stocks, if I'm trading a big stock like NIO, where you know they're $40 stocks or so, I go in with smaller size, like maybe only 100 to 200 shares, just because if it does go against me, it can quite easily knock down 50 cents, quite easily. So it's kind of just like a risk management tool. We get those nice winners most of the time, and if we do ever get that occasional big loser, we can deal with that. So we'll get straight into it. GOVX was our biggest trade for the day. I'm just going to go from biggest to smallest as we usually do, and we'll go on to this side. So we shorted at the 5.95, so this candle here. Reason for this is because obviously you get into this $6 resistance. There wasn't any deviations, we hadn't even hit into one, but $6, you know, we kind of struggled always hitting to the 7, and I couldn't go back and check daily, but it showed me that we were probably going to get some slight resistance coming into the 6, and we did on this one here, so just showed me there was most likely going to be weakness coming into the $6. So shorted at the 95 just in case we didn't hit the $6, in case it faded down quickly. But that was all good. Ended up going to 6.19. We were looking to average in at 6.24. We didn't hit that price, so it was alright. Waited for the fade down. We basically covered quite soon on this at 5.72. Probably should have held longer. We only held it into the 20 EMA. Probably should have ended up holding on to the VWAP. The only reason I don't sometimes is because it's a 6-cent move or so. Actually, it was a bit bigger. That was a 10-cent move. But usually it can bounce quite hard off the VWAP, so sometimes I would rather just make sure I get a fill, even if it means losing some profits. Here it would have faded down and we would have been all good, but you never know that. And it was only 500 shares, so that was quite good. Next biggest trade was FBIO. I believe we traded this yesterday, and I think this was a deviation trade. Yeah, so you can see it didn't actually hit our deviation. The deviation was at 5.79. That was the 4-hour third deviation. Didn't end up actually hitting it. However, as it was at 79, I started to average in before coming into the 70 cent, just in case we got that 75 cent resistance, which ended up kind of being the reason for the reversal, that and a deviation. So you can see we averaged, we bought our whole position at 570. So yeah, our whole position was here. We held through this move. We were looking to average in at 5.80 and then $6. Didn't get either of those fills, so we were just in with the smaller size, and we just rode this move down until we got down to 54, which was here, and that was the VWAP. So we looked on profits. You can see we got a small bounce off the VWAP by about 10 cents, and then it faded down. Again, we didn't stay in during the breakdown of the VWAP. Should maybe be looking into doing that, because as you'll see today, a lot of them did break through, so is something I'll be looking to do, at least coming into the future. We did actually end up trading this twice though, so you can see if over at 10.45 area, we did end up trading it again. Well, 27 actually was our entry. Ended up being a very tiny trade. Don't really need to go over it. We bought at 5.5, which was around this area. The reason for this is this deviation. The first deviation on the 1 day 1 minute was here. Usually you get a nice pop off of here, maybe by 10 to 15 cent move, but it didn't really pop. It kind of just consolidated around this area, and then in the end I kind of just closed it out for a tiny profit. Did end up pushing higher up in the day, but again, didn't want to be in the position all day. It was just meant to be a quick scalp, because this deviation bounce on the 1 day 1 minute is usually more of a scalp trade. Okay, and then the next biggest win was BBW. I believe this one's oh yeah, okay, 10 o'clock. So I don't think this was a deviation trade. No. Yeah, so the reason then for this trade, BBW, we shorted, just coming again into the whole dollar resistance. You'll see this is a common occurrence. Whole dollar resistance seemed to be strong, and even if it does break through, it will usually return to there. So even if it broke through this $9 area, you reshort maybe a bit more size at 924 or 949. And then usually it will at least retrace back to that whole dollar and retest that whole dollar. Whether it bounces up or breaks through won't matter, because you'll be in the green. So that's usually how I like to trade these whole dollar resistance. And in this case, we shorted only 250 shares, nothing crazy, but it is a higher price stock than I usually trade. So that's a way to manage risk. And then we ended up locking profit into this down move here, and we locked in our profits basically on this 50 EMA, and then it kind of bounced off here and consolidated till pushing down further. So that's quite a nice trade. And then we got OCUP. Let's go over to this. I think this is the second last trade we took on the day. You can see on this side we got a nice sudden pop around the 250 area, around 2:50 PM. We just got a sudden pop, and I noticed it. I think it popped off on my momentum scanner around this area here, around the $6 mark, and then we started to short it, coming into the $6.50 resistance. Again, you get that $0.50 resistance, so a non-deviation trade is where we shorted at 46 to allow for that movement. Again, it can sometimes break through. The reason as well, didn't get a perfect entry on this, just because I saw it. Forgot about it because it looked kind of strong. However, I ended up taking my short here. Reason for this, you'll see over here on the RSI, we got a divergence, as well as being at a psychological resistance. So that's where I was looking to short. Ended up working. Again, we went in with massive size, so only ended up being a $40 winner. BCTX was our next trade. I believe, was this our last trade of the day? No, or was it? I don't know. Yeah, BC. Okay, yeah. So this was kind of a forced trade, to be honest. Reason for this is it was a good trade. The main reason I kind of forced a trade though was to push us over into that $300 territory, which wasn't a good call. Even though it worked out, you know, you should never just force a trade just to meet a criteria that you kind of wanted. But I just wanted to get that $300 a day. Did work out this time, but if it failed, would have been stupid, because then I would have knocked down the day to about 250 or so if it went against us. However, still go through it. We shorted 300 shares at the $5 resistance. It ended up kind of just popping through right away, and so we kind of just held on, thinking it would either get a nice pop up to around 325 and we would reshort, or we would just get a pop down. Didn't kind of do anything, kind of just consolidated, so we just added in an extra 50 shares at $5.08 around this area. Reason for this, it seemed to be in the high. It wasn't really breaking through there too much, so added in a small size just to bring our average up a bit, and then if it dropped, it would be easy to get out. So that's what we did, and we basically just sold on this fall down here. Basically the bottom of this move, which was quite nice, and then it ended up going for the day, but we were already out, so that's all good. GTBP, I think this was a tiny trade, wasn't it? With share size, I mean. GTB, yeah, 100 shares on a $10 stock, so still relatively small. We'd usually use at least 200, but there wasn't too much like great about this trade. It was kind of just, we saw it pop up, popped up on momentum scanner. Did it get halted? Didn't even ended up being halted, but so it popped up on my scanner anyway. I saw, obviously, we got the three kind of consolidating candle tops here as a resistance. So I was like, okay, cool, this looks like a good area to short. Either we'll break through, so that's probably why I picked only to do 100 shares, because we got a good average here at about 1080. If it popped through, we could average in at the $11 resistance. If not, it will get a sharp pull down, which it ended up doing. So we ended up making a 15-cent move on that, and it was just a quick trade, 2-minute trade. Would have been better with a bigger size, but you know, easier to see in hindsight. This trade on NIO would have actually been a lot better if I had better size, but I had small size, and the problem when I have small size is a lot of people would instead hold it for longer because they don't have as much to lose. However, if I got small size, I prefer just to get out. Then I don't need to concentrate it and can put my focus elsewhere. So we ended up going long, which would have been the third deviation on the 1 day 1 minute, I believe. That's why I went long. So that ended up being at 37.20, which I believe was here. I don't know if we got the re-entry. I think we did it at the re-entry. 51. So yeah, we ended up entering down here. And then we just sold into the 50 EMA. Again, we only had 100 shares, so even if it broke through even up $1, it would have been $50, but the time it would take to get there just wouldn't really be worth our time. If I saw it again come down to this 37, because I did have a add-in at 37.01. Actually, I think it was 37.05. But however, I cancelled the order obviously once we got out the trade, so I wouldn't have needed it to average in. Would have been a nice move though if you kind of had a biggish size where you can kind of just leave it, and it went up around $1. So could have been quite a nice trade, but again, that was just off the deviations. And again, on these kind of larger cap stocks, I can trade off the 1 day 1 minute because it's respected a bit more. The penny stocks, I kind of stay away from the 1 day 1 minute because they're very volatile on that day, so they're not usually as respecting towards the deviations. So I hope you like the recap. I will definitely have a video up this weekend. I think I'm going to go through my swing trades because the swing trades have done really well today. I think we're up 1,500 or so on the swing trades. I'll post a screenshot now. But yeah, so I'll probably go through that on the weekend as well because I haven't updated the positions in a while. And that's it. Don't forget to subscribe because a lot of you watch but don't subscribe. And that's it. Thanks for 60 subscribers. Hope to see you in the next recap. Peace.